mentioned all the people lining up to come hire Kelley grads.
Yeah. So it's that's kind of our promise, I think.
I love that.
Yeah, and you know, we could say that maybe we provide a superior education. I don't know if that's provable, but we do get good outcomes, and we've focused really well on helping our students be proficient at interactions. Again, I know this guy Jack, and you know, he seems very strong on personal interactions, and maybe he was trained for that in school. But we do work really hard with our kids on their communication skills. Yeah. And then the other end of that equation is having a really strong career services group. And so we have, you know, most of the Fortune 500 companies are coming to us for their next generation of talent.
I love that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really funny you teach and go in depth in the communication skills. 'Cause I think right now it's one of the most important things when we hire, I think, just new college graduates, right? So I was going to ask about, you've been doing this for 17 years. I would imagine there's been a lot of change, right, as far as technology, as far as mindset, work ethic. But what are some of those core principles that really haven't changed in the last 17 years that you make sure to drive home every single year?
Well, so there's good research. And when I came back, I did, there's science of education. And I read the papers. Yeah. Because I wanted to know how to be a better educator. And one of the things that is shown in that is that the single most important factor in a student learning is their personal motivation. If they're not motivated, there's nothing I can do.
Got to be a self-starter.
So, you know, what I think of myself as a learning facilitator. It's not my job to teach you something. It's your job to learn it. And we're all learning every day, right? Yeah. And if you're not, you're dead. And maybe not literally, but I think every day's an opportunity to learn. And so I think that's the core thing I would say, is that I put the responsibility for learning onto the shoulders of my students. Yeah. Because you know,
and in the long run, they're going to thank you.
It's their life.
Yeah. Right. In the long run, that is I think the single life lesson that you can apply to whatever industry they end up in. Is you have to, you know, put your boots on and get to work and have that mindset of actively learning.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is that I've been an early adopter of technology in teaching for a long time. I started teaching online 14 years ago, something like that. And what I will say is that modality doesn't matter. There's this perception that the classroom maybe provides a better experience. You could have a terrible experience in a classroom. You can have a terrible experience in online mediums. It really is about how the course is constructed and, you know, the thought that went behind it. Yeah. And when in the pandemic, I thought it was interesting, and I think kind of a miss on our part from a Kelley School standpoint, is that there was a lot of panic around, oh my gosh, you know, we can't, you know, but we had at that point had the #1 online MBA program in the United States. Wow. You know what I would have said? I'd go, in a pandemic, you want your kids to learn? Come to us. Yeah. Because we're experts in online teaching. We're already there.
You're the leader.
Yeah. But we didn't do it. Yeah. We got all worried about, oh no, people want in the classroom. And it just made me realize that learning can take place through a lot of different mechanisms, and
it all comes back to the student, though.
And I think also a well-designed program for learning, whether that's me putting that together or whether it's a consortium of individuals that are building something that's learning. And, you know, now I think you could just probably get a good college education just by asking ChatGPT 4 questions. Yeah. And I was thinking about trying to write a book on retail just using ChatGPT 4 and just have it work with me on it. Because when you think about retail, I mean, the origin word is rétaler, which is a French Norman word, and it means to cut into small parts. Oh. And if you think about what retail is, you know, you guys are producing things down here. We were just in your operations area, and I noticed that, there's a lot of T-shirts. Like they come in big box T-shirts. Well, those T-shirts are built from fabric that's built in 5,000-yard lots. Right. And so the job of the retailer really was to break bulk. And so you think of it as the cutting into small pieces. And I always used to use the butcher shop,
Yeah.
classic way. Cow in the back, steaks out the front. So
I love that.
I don't know how we got on that.
Well, John, you talked a bit about Kelley being a leader in the School of Business space, top 10 school, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
You've got a unique program at the Kelley School, Kelley Outfitters.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that is, what it's all about, and how it works.
Yep. So about 7 years ago, one of our deans had the idea that actually it was when we were redoing our building, and they built a little tiny location at the front of the undergraduate building that was going to be a shop.
Okay.
And it was going to be Kelley merchandise and other things like that. And the space is probably 600 square feet.
Okay.
So it's not big enough to do anything. And you had to staff it. And so, that's a $35,000 a year job to do no business.
Yeah.
And so we migrated to online. And really the initial purpose of the Outfitters store was just to get Kelley branded swag into the hands of parents and alumni and others, sometimes students.
Sure.
So our marketing department has now taken over the administration of the Kelley Outfitters website, and we're really trying to use it as a practicum of learning for students. So in the fall, I'll have 25 students in a course, and they will run the website.
That's awesome.
And we'll build the product, decide how much to buy. All the marketing communications will be done by the students. We'll look at the financials, make forecasts, doing all that kind of stuff. And so we're really using
real world experience.
Yeah, and it's running the site. And so we're trying to also, and this is where you guys come in, is really trying to get away from the idea that we're just slapping Kelley on the front of something, because you guys are in this business, so you know that the production of apparel, footwear is inherently terrible for the environment, and there's really not much you can do about it, because just the way the materials are grown, it's tough on cotton. The way cotton is grown is difficult from water sources and other things like that, and so we want to do something where we're more thoughtful about the products that we're producing. And one of the things that is one of the biggest problems when you think of why the retail textile apparel industry is so dirty in terms of contribution to carbon and other things is that we don't match demand very well with production. So we either make too much of something or too little of something. And so when you make excess, it ends up in a landfill in Ghana. Yeah. And so our goal is really to try to, if we're going to produce something that says Kelley on it, first of all, we want it to be first class, just like the school.
Align with a top 10 program.
Yeah, exactly. And then secondly, we want to be careful about the quantities we purchase. And in a perfect world, what we'd like to do is do pre-orders.
Sure.
And just we have a pre-order function in our e-commerce tool now. We use BigCommerce, and so we're just trying to, really create a learning experience, but also be thoughtful around what we make. Like right now, we have dog toys. This guy Jack that I know, this guy Jack that I know. We were looking at our website earlier today. Yeah. And he laughingly noticed ear pods, and we had so much I'm going to just say the word crap. And it's stuff that we should have been given to our students anyway.
Right.
If you're going to sign up for a Kelley education, if you're an out-of-state student, it is not cheap. Mm-hmm. And you think you could maybe give a kid a free T-shirt for that.
Yeah.
Or something, or a parent a free T-shirt.
We know a guy.
Yeah.
His name might be Jack. Well, John, if you put on your lecturer hat for a minute, you think about the 17 years you've been teaching. What continues to inspire you? Like, what wakes you up?
Just the students.
Yeah.
The truthfully, bureaucracy has just gotten worse. There's always been a lot of bureaucracy in higher education.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly more political than you would think. And by political, I mean internally political, just departments fighting
Adam
against
and I were
each
just
other.
talking about this earlier today.
And it's, and I remember when I first started back, one of the people that I was an associate with, I think was either envious of me or somebody just didn't like me. And so I was getting involved with these internal politics within a department.
Yeah.
And I go, I don't get paid enough to deal with this crap. And so
It's the high school lunchroom.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember that. It's been so long ago. But so I think the students are the reason I'm still at it, because they appreciate me, and it makes me feel good to help them. And so
do you get your students reaching out, years later, like, hey, I'm now one of the CEOs of this company.
Yeah.
Remember my time in your class.
Yeah. So I taught this thing called iCore, which is one of our foundational courses, and I taught it for 5 or 6 years, big classes. Everybody had to pass through it. And about 3.5 years ago, a student of mine from Austin went to work for this healthy pasta company as an intern. And it turned out he started talking to the CEO, and the CEO was a former student of mine named Brian Guadagno. And so Brian owns a company called It's Skinny, which means it's skinny on bad ingredients for you and good on the good stuff. So it's a healthy, low carb pasta, zero net carbs essentially.
Okay.
And so he's CEO. Another student was in my class 8 years ago. It was a retail analytics class, and I remember walking into the classroom, and he had his computer open, and he was looking at these cool T-shirts with like Indiana logos on them, not Indiana words, but like the state or something. And I go, "What are you doing, man?" And he goes, "Oh, I have my own T-shirt company." I go, "That's cool. Where do you make them?" He goes, "In my apartment." And he had a single head screen print machine, and he dried them in his tub.
Wow.
And so he, that won me over completely. You know, a kid that had that
an entrepreneur through and through.
Super smart too, great in the classroom. And so I was working with a company called Exact Target back then, which was bought by Salesforce.com. It's an Indianapolis-based company. They were email marketing company, and so they came down. One of the people that was responsible for that came down for one of my classes, and through another friend, I met a guy who had a company called One Click Ventures up in Greenwood, Indiana. And they had eyewear in the form of readers and also sunglasses. And so I introduced Connor to that guy and ended up going to work for him up there. And then 3 years later, Connor decided to get back in a T-shirt business and started his own company called Home Field Apparel.
Cool.
And he and his wife run it now, and I'm an investor. And I just hope someday they have a liquidity event.
Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. You talk about all these moments and getting to lead students and seeing then their visions come to life and examples like that, to me, it just has to be such a rewarding side of being a lecturer and an educator.
Yeah, definitely. That's the only reason I'm sticking around.
Yeah. If you think about your experience in retail and then double that down with your experience teaching in marketing and retail style education, what challenges and opportunities do you see in like the current retail environment?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for retail right now is just the uncertainty that we're facing. Yeah. I was talking with, I think, your CEO earlier today, and we both agreed wholeheartedly that uncertainty is the bane of consumer spending.
Yes.
And so being a retailer was challenging. If you think about the last 5 years, the pandemic completely upending everything. And honestly, I saw more innovation take place in the retail industry at that time. Macy's was going to roll out in 2000, I got to get my years right, in 2000, in the fall of 19, when was the pandemic? 2019. Yeah, so 2019, Macy's was going to test curbside pickup.
Yeah.
And they were going to do 4 doors that they were going to open. And then we had the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Macy's went and had every door with curbside pickup by June of that year. Yeah. And I've never seen anybody operate at that pace. And so it was amazing to me to watch retailers of all scale adapt to that really difficult situation. And then think about some of the problems with logistics that have happened. If you remember the container ship that was parked sideways in the Suez Canal.
We were sourcing T-shirts through all of that.
It's impossible to find T-shirts during that time.
Well, they're in the port at San Diego. But they're not in the country.
I had a senior executive from Home Depot in my class, I think in like 2021, maybe right after pandemic. He was telling stories about the pandemic in retail, and one of the most interesting things he said is that if you go to any Home Depot, and I think one of you guys worked at Lowe's or something.
I used to work at Home Depot.
Okay, so you work at Home Depot.
I know the orange apron well.
So they down one of the rows. There's one of those bins, and it's probably 3 feet wide, and it's got sheets of plexiglass in it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And they might have 20 sheets of plexiglass at each store. In the month of March of 2020, they sold more plexiglass than in the entire previous 5 years.
I believe that.
Yeah, and it's completely sold out. Couldn't get any more.
Used to have to dust those off.
You didn't anymore because they weren't there. But the other thing that was interesting they found out was they were getting people coming in and buying bundles of lumber.
Yeah.
And so people were doing DIY projects, and one of the ones that they figured out was really popular was building a deck.
Yeah.
And so they have people that would come in, buy lumber, and 8 weeks later they'd come by and get a grill and some plants. And so they figured out that they could use email promotion, that if somebody came in and bought the lumber, they would trigger an email in about 4 weeks, say, hey, how about a grill now to go on that deck?
Smart.
And it was really brilliant.
Smart.
Yeah. So it's fun to watch. I think retailers are, since we're on the front lines engaging with the consumer every single day, you have to really be, if you think about consumers, they're changing every moment, right? But those changes accumulate over time. But if you're a retailer, you've got physical locations, it's very difficult for you to just change on a dime in a second.
And you've got inventory you've committed to that you have to turn through.
That's right. Yeah. And so it's just, I think one of the things I like about retail in general is just the pace, instant feedback. You get your flash sales from yesterday, and you know whether you suck or not. So
I can remember in my Home Depot days, garden season in peak Chicago summers, and you're having a $1 million Saturday at the store. Yeah. And it is just a blitz for your shift. There is no time to think. There is no break. You just go and you sell.
The seed business is a very interesting business because you think about seasonality, like toys are seasonal, right? Yeah. But seeds, they only sell from like April 15th until the end of May. Yeah. And so the whole rest of the year, they're not doing anything. Yeah. And then in 6 weeks, they got to get all the seeds out, get them to the stores, and it's the most. Oh yeah, I remember working with a guy years and years ago, just that was in that business, and I don't know what he did for 9 months out of the year, but he worked crazily busy for about 6 weeks every year.
Yeah, I mean the resets every night because it's like a mad rush on the weekend. Stuff gets torn through, and then someone has to make the store look exactly how it should by open the next morning. Yep. And it's a team effort to make that happen.
I think retails, whether it's restaurant retail or any, I think of banks. Mm-hmm. If you think of a bank on a corner like Chase, I mean, they're a retailer. They bring in big wads of money from the Fed in the back door. They mark it up, and they sell it to you as a loan. Yeah. And so if they did a better job of creating a great experience around that, then I think that you would see better outcomes for those. And some of the banks started doing, like Capital One has kind of integrated coffee shops into their, trying to create a more experience. And personally, if I ever had a bank, I would
almost make him part of the brand.
Yeah. I wanted to do, have a bank that would be in a mall, like in a shopping center or an experience center, and have people walking around with iPads and boxes of loans up on the shelf. And you go, yeah, I just want the standard home loan here. And then you'd go to, all the people would have blue shirts on, maybe green shirts. And it would say financial guru on it.
Oh.
And that would be who you would interact with when you went to get your loan, and just have it be not so painful.
Yeah.
And so I tend to make everything retail.
I like that idea. I mean, right now, all you get is the same sucker that they've been giving away for 100 years, the dum-dum sucker. You walk in and got the little basket of them. That's what you get.
Go to a lawyer and get a pen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they always give you a pen. When I go to a lawyer and they have a thing of pens in a dish like this, and there's 100 of them in there. Yeah. I just take all of them. I do. I mean, because I go, he's charging me $450 an hour minimum. Yeah. So I go, I'm going to take all your pens.
We should get into business together. You go to all the lawyers around. You take all their pens. We'll sell them. We'll call them that day. Talk about the marketing materials. We'll email them a marketing blast for pens.
There we go.
Perfect. There we go.
It's a whole system.
Maybe we can train our students to do that in some way. So that'd be fun.
Now, John, you mentioned earlier you spent some time at Purdue, some time at Indiana.
Yep.
Both Big Ten campuses.
Uh-huh.
Big Ten campuses are littered with tradition, heritage, fun things that make their campuses unique. Uh-huh. What are some things that stand out from your time at Indiana that you just love as a campus tradition?
My experience, I would say, is somewhat different.
Yeah,
Chris, because I actually studied. It's mostly what I did.
You're not over there at Little 500?
I'm sad to say that I was not very much of a socialite.
Did you study in the library?
I would go to the 7th floor of the Stacks. We have a huge library there called the Wells Library, and it's a beautiful structure. It looks like a giant mausoleum. It's just it's textured limestone. It's probably maybe 100 feet tall and 300 feet long, and it has no windows. And so I would just go to the 7th floor, and I'd get a Carol, and I would just study until 11 o'clock at night, and then maybe have something to help me sleep. I'm not going to go into the details of what that might have been.
Sure.
But so I think I'm not really a great person to talk about just sort of, but you think about Bloomington, like I know I have friends of mine, so I do have 4 buddies that I was in the honors program at the business school, and I stay in touch with 4 buddies. And they come in for homecoming, and when they come in, they always want to go to Nick's.
Yeah.
And Nick's is super famous. I mean, it's average food, pretty cheap beer.
College town staples.
I only drink Chardonnay, and so they don't have a good Chardonnay, so I don't really go to Nick's that often.
Fill that bucket up with a Chardonnay and play Sink the Biz with it. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Chardonnay sinking the biz. That's a good idea.
There you go. I spent a lot of time at IU, so shout out Indiana.
Sink the biz.
Adam's our expert over here.
Yeah, went to Iowa. Spent a lot of time over at IU.
I was trying to think of just, what else around. I mean, certainly Little 5 is an amazing event. And my daughter actually is going to be a freshman this year, and she wants to ride Little 5. She's just dying to do it. And I'm a former cyclist. Now I'm just old. But I used to do triathlons, and I think I've run 28 marathons or something like that.
Awesome.
So my she's going to be a good cyclist.
Yeah.
Yeah, some team's going to be lucky to have her because she's a beast.
We'll have to keep an eye open for the last name on the cyclist races coming up.
Yeah, every spring. So, she'll probably be on a team next spring, I hope.
All right. We'll keep an open eye.
Yeah.
And we'll wrap this up, John. You also have a little bit of a background as a founder. Tell us a little bit about Blue Collar Consulting and what is that all about?
Yeah, so Blue Collar really is just an entity that I set up when I first came back to teaching. I had a consulting agreement with the Western company that I was working with. And so from a taxation standpoint, it just made sense to run it through an organization, a separate entity.
Sure.
And so I just set that entity up, and I've never really worked hard at any sort of real promotion to sort of present myself as an expert on all things retail and try to monetize that. But sometimes it's worked. I've gotten in touch, but it hasn't necessarily been the because of that brand. But my idea behind the brand was blue collar consultants that work. And if you get that analogy, I'm not a big fan of consultants.
Yeah.
We send a lot of kids into the industry, and personally, I think it's a mistake for a kid to go into consulting first off because they don't know, about putting plexiglass into the Home Depot. And so they come in with ideas that are not validated because they've never been on that side of the floor. And so I think a lot of times, I hired because I was CEO of a company, and we hired consultants. And the only reason you'd hire consultants is that you had a couple of senior managers that just didn't agree on something, and you knew you need to get it done. And so you can't get both of them to buy in. So what you do is you pay somebody $50K to come in, tell them the idea that you have. So consultants can be a change agent.
Yeah.
And I think that's, but you got to be careful with them because consultants also, their whole business model is built around making you think that you can't do it yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of learning. And
You've facilitated it for 17
exactly.
years.
So I think to me, if you're hiring consultants, you're making a mistake. In general, I think that you should try to figure it out yourself. Figure it out, just like we figured out the fossil story about how am I going to ship this damn watch.
Yeah.
And having that guy in the warehouse look at me like I was crazy. Why would you ever want to ship one of something when you can ship? Yeah, he didn't see where e-com was going at that point.
Sure.
But we were right there at the beginning of it, and now I can assure you that the biggest single location for fossil watches is their own website.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know how we got off on that sidetrack.
No, I mean, I think it's always interesting to hear any founder's story and how that opportunity comes about and what fueled it and ultimately where it's going.
I have stayed. I am I've started several companies. They don't always work. Well, actually, none of them really worked. But you got to keep trying. But I have been an investor in a number of student companies over the years, and one of those is going to pan out, or a couple of them, and then I'll come back and we'll do another show about how to live like a millionaire.
There we go.
I love that. Love that.
Well, John, it has been a pleasure hosting you today, learning all about things happening within the Kelley School of Business and happening just across the collegiate landscape. Appreciate you coming in.
Oh, it was great. It's a fun place, and good luck with all you guys are doing.
Thank you.
This is great, John. Thank you very much.
Thanks.